Internet, how you all doing? Probably not that great considering it's election day, and even though the major one's not until next year, we all know that no matter who wins, we lose. It's like having an argument with your sibling and your mom steps in. But let's talk about something more cheerful. This is RWBY Reviews.
You said we were going to talk about something cheerful. You lied to me.
And not unlike our future presidential candidates, there seems to be a lot of corruption, backstabbing, and stupidity going on in the RWBYverse right now.
Like with Cinder finally arriving at the Bronwyn camp, and with the help of a silver-tongued mustache, manages to convince Raven to join her side. This is for two reasons, the first being so that Salem can add another waifu to her collection.
Mad props, my love.
And the latter being because Raven managed to twist the Spring Maiden into joining her side. So all the witch wants is the relic that Vernal alone can obtain. But Raven ain't no fool and secretly plans on turning on Two-Face, taking the relic for her own. It wouldn't be the first time that an alliance was simply used as a means to an end. But unlike Leo's betrayal, which was done out of fear of the Sorcerer Supreme, Raven knows all too well that Salem cannot be trusted, only avoided. Another trying to avoid something are the writers, as they try again to show us something else besides what we came for. But I guess halfway through they knew that wouldn't go down so well, so they then swiftly cut to the battle at the Belladonnas. There, thanks to Ilya luring Blake into it.
It's a trap!
Thank you, Admiral Obvious. The White Thing attacking the dead of night, hoping to gain an advantage, which is something they need when they're going up against beasts like this.
Get out of my house!
And also Gira. Worried that Ilya's irrational, emotional mind may lead her to take her parents' lives, Blake and Sun rush to the house, hoping to not be too late. And while they arrive just in the nick of time for her dadums, her mother may be another story. So Blake runs through the house to find her, but has instead been found by someone else.
Ooh, what's gonna happen between the lesbian and the not-so-lesbian? Let's start the review and find out. Lakana, roll the clip.
I'd say that we should skip this to get to the fight faster, but I know that it won't come up first.
So we're going to watch the intro?
No. And we're back, and surprise to no one, we're with Crow and the kid and not the epic battle that was set up. For everybody in the future watching, these were the first signs that Rooster Teeth hated us, and the beginnings of their abusive relationship with the fans. Anyways, Crow is worried. So many huntsmen either killed or gone missing, and even in defense of the kingdom, that isn't normal. Ozpin agrees that Salem's reach is long and there are those weak or foolish enough to fall to her. But he believes that there are still good souls in this world. Speaking of one, Ruby comes over bothered by something. She's worried that with Cinder being the Fall Maiden, does that mean that Salem already has the beacon relic? Ozpin tells her no, for while the others are already strongly protected, he made his own relic a bit more challenging to find.
Now, is there anything else we can help you with?
Is it?
No, my cane is not a relic.
I have no more questions.
Ozpin informs her that though it's precious to him, that's all it is. Just then, Leo calls Crow to tell him that he's managed to convince the council to give them the men they need, and they should totally come over tomorrow, and this is totally not a trap, and I'm totally not going to Walter Frey you all. Totally not going to do that.
He wants us to meet up at the school tomorrow night to walk us through it.
Really? Oh, that's great! I'll go get the others.
Okay, while sweet naive Ruby is innocent enough to fall for that, Oz and Drunkle Crow are not.
Oh, good. Because if they hurt any more, my girls, I'm gonna go all red wedding on Rooster Teeth.
Back at the school, we see Raven surprised that Leo betrayed Ozpin. The cowardly Leon is terrified of the witch, to which is why he has done so many terrible things for her. Things that none of the others could forgive.
Man up. You did what you had to do to survive.
Yeah, woman up, you pussy! It's not a bad word. Technically, that's what he is.
There is no shame in that.
Who are you trying to convince?
Fucking finally! We're back with the Belladonna badasses. We see Callie run out of ammo as Batman comes crashing in.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Okay, while Callie kills Knuckleheads, we see Blake trying one last time to break through to Ilya, but the latter is still resolute in her decision. So the fight then breaks out, and it's cat versus lizard.
Technically, the correct title is Lesbian versus Lizard. But since that one's a bit redundant, I can understand the change.
Why do you feel like we have to hurt people to get our way?
Because it works.
That doesn't make it right.
Well, that was pathetic. Not the tase, I'm sure that hurt, but the animators of Food Fight made their battle look better. Ilya then decides to use the cover of night to get the upper hand, and for a while it works. But then Blake gets an idea.
Sorry, Dad.
No, that's not what happened, as much as it would have livened things up. Exposed, Ilya goes in for the kill. The lizard berates Blake for being a coward, saying that she too used to believe in what Adam did. But Blake has had enough. Freezing her weapon, the cat pounces on her old friend.
Well, this just got a whole lot sexier.
Ilya, please.
No, you're supposed to kiss her. That's how you break the spell.
Is this really what your parents would have wanted?
I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do.
Well, that's nice. But just then, Catman comes bursting in. However, in their distraction, each of the enemy uses it to get a strike in.
Okay, I'm calling bullshit. After that epic fist bumping session, this dude's hands should be looking like bags of broken glass. I mean, do you even see these pythons?
Well, in the carnage, Ilya's conviction begins to waver. The doggo duo tries to double team the king, but Sun comes busting in. The monkey tries to deal with his competition.
Fat chance, dumbass.
Stop!
Please.
See? Told you.
Yeah, saw that coming. Both the Sade and the fact that Gira is one sexy beefcake. Seeing an opening, Fennec goes in for a kill, but... Well, at least he didn't scream like a bitch, like most villains do.
Mom!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Callie just beat that fool to death with a serving tray.
God damn, Mama Bella Booty is a badass. However, it's not over yet. Oh, I guess it is. And with that, Ilya collapses in tears, like the emotional woman she is.
Sexist.
Outside the group exit the currently burning building, and seeing the crowd and what's just happened, Blake goes to speak with her people.
Blake!
Humans didn't do this. We did this.
She goes on to tell them that, no shit, even faunists can be assholes. And since they don't want to take a stand or even speak up, they are letting others like Adam speak for them. And like tonight, they may not like what they have to say. However, though she cannot give them the simple answer they seek, and she doesn't know how to wash away all the hate, this is not the way. And Adam needs to be and can be stopped, not simply because of the lives of the humans, but for the sake of their own.
So I'm going. And I'll stand by myself if I have to. I'll stand with you.
Bitch, you were just trying to kill us 5 seconds ago. You really think we're gonna forget about that?
Show me your tits and I'll forget about it.
Forget? No. But Blake says that she will forgive, for as her father explains, there is a far greater strength in forgiveness than in hate. The people then, at the sight of this inspiring moment, begin to volunteer to go and stop Adam. Even Sun is able to forgive the lizard, after a little payback. Gira then explains that in 2 weeks, because apparently this whole event has been taking place in the past, they will need some transport.
I think I know a ship captain who owes us a favor.
And that was the end of episode 10. And I have to admit, there were some real issues.
For you, maybe. But those of us who still have souls, we actually enjoyed it.
Now, it has nothing to do with the emotional moments that we got. Again, those have almost always been great. No, as you might expect, it was more towards the action, the villain's motivations, the villain's presence, and the worrying suspicion that this isn't going to end well in the future. Let's start with the fight. It was bad. There's just no way around that. While indeed Blake and Ilya had some good moments, it was only a few in a bucket of piss. Because when it came to some of their actions, and definitely the fight Gira played a part in, we were left wanting so much more. And this is not just my opinion, as both critics and audience alike agreed that this wasn't a great volume for fights, let alone this episode in general. And let us not forget, this show became popular because of its fights. However, there was one thing that I'd like to defend about a moment in Blake's battle, as so many critics have, well, criticized. Many were wondering why Ilya turning off the lights would even matter, considering that one of the first things we learn about the Faunus is that many of them have excellent eyesight in the dark. And their claim is that because of that bit of info, this scene becomes dumb as it makes Ilya look kind of stupid.
Heathens, heretics, and Faunus haters. Ricardo, defend my waifu's honor.
Sure thing.
Now,
Many Faunus are known to have nearly perfect sight in the dark.
doesn't mean that they can see plainly in the dark. It just means that they can see much better than humans. So using both the night and her ability to color change, indeed, Ilya would be very hard, if not impossible to see, even for a Faunus. True, they should have made it a little bit more difficult for us to get a beat on her, but that's just the director making it easy for us to follow the action. Now with that, this scene changes into one of excellent use of character abilities and problem solving.
Sadly though, as I just said, not all the fights were like that.
And the two main complaints that arise again with these recent fights are the movement and camera angle. Characters not only need to flow swiftly into each action, the camera needs to follow them in a way that is both dynamic yet smooth. Long takes are, as Monty showed us, the way to go if you're trying to make a climax.
Climax.
Anyways, here we see that not only did they rely too much on jump cuts, but they also telegraphed the character's actions way too often. Let's take a look at the Red trailer, where we can see that though there were some very swift actions, much of it was smoothly transitioned and clearly defined so that while it retains a decent speed, the audience can still tell what happened without getting bored.
That didn't happen here, and what makes it worse is that the motivations were lacking too.
Now, Ilya's were actually really good. Someone who's just angry and hurt and doesn't know what to do with it, and so is lashing out. That's a really good motivation for a villain to have. However, when it came to Fennec and Corsic, neither of them felt like they had anything that they were fighting for. And it could have been anything from personal to petty, so long as we feel the drive like we did with Ilya.
Well, I certainly felt something from her.
One could say that they're fighting for power, but they haven't really been set up enough for that. We know little to nothing about them and their part in the White Fang, besides being clear hypocritical religious figures. What, does Stephen King have a hand in this? It would make sense, since he doesn't know how to write villains either. This is a problem because it shakes the ground that the White Fang have to stand on. They need to be the big threat, a force of great change. Whether for good or evil, Blake would be the deciding factor, and it's only who's leading them now that is causing them to be a change for evil. However, as stated in the beginning of this volume, Adam is very likely not going to be that. And the Twinks here were the last hope. Now it seems very likely that the White Fang are just going to end up to be nothing more than a small threat, not to be taken seriously, and a great disappointment to the audience.
And that downgrades any future redemption for this organization, or any sign of glory for Blake's reclamation of it.
Now, the moment that we did get with her in this episode was great. Hearing Blake's speech was nothing special in itself, as it was basically your average call to arms against hate. But it's knowing Blake and what it's taken for her to get here that makes it spectacular. Seeing the little kitten grow from a scaredy cat to a potential leader that would make her father proud makes us swell with pride. And it's actually a pretty interestingly worded speech, if I do have to admit, expressing that indeed, more often than not, we don't know how to stop others from hating, as more often than not, you can't. But we can choose what we will do with our anger. Either let it lay in wait, festering inside of us until there is no more room but for it to burst out, causing pain both to foe and friend alike. Or to forgive when forgiveness is not deserved. Again, Blake has certainly come a long way.
My little Neko is all grown up. Suck it yourselves, all you idiots who thought she sucked.
Alright, you can calm down, the review's almost over. Let's just briefly talk about the brief interaction between Raven and Leo.
It's an interesting conversation, as Leo did put it, because they are both doing the same thing, if not in different ways. Both are scared of Salem, of what she can do, and each are running. While Leo is trying to do all he can to stay off her bad side, Raven wants to stay out of Salem's side altogether. And while she says that she's not afraid, I think we can all throw a whole press X to doubt that statement, as there seems to be more going on with Raven than she's letting on. But for the time being, we just have to wait and see what will become of all of this. Maybe the scaredy cat has a point, or maybe he's just projecting. Oh, and yes, if you haven't picked up on the numerous hints of previous works of fantasy, Leo is based on the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz. However, here he is presented as an unwilling minion of the Wicked Witch. Kind of a character change, but when has the inspirations of the characters of RWBY been anything more than just an attire template and a way for the audience to say,
Neat.
Still using things from far better channels, I see. What are you people even doing watching this?
Now, as to what this is all setting up to, remains to be seen. It does seem like they might be going for a redemption character like with Ilya, for which may not be the best choice. While it would be nice if done right, it will lose a good deal of its impact if he turns on Salem at the last second just because of honor or friendship or whatever. Mainly because it's already been done and it would feel like they're just repeating things to get a similar reaction. However, they did make the right choice when it came to Ozpin and Crow's suspicion of the headmaster. Firstly, since it's already been spoiled to us, it removes the whole annoying notion that we know that he's going to double cross them, but we're just having to wait for when. It rarely ends well when they go the whole
surprise, motherfucker,
route. I mean, just look at the Red Wedding. Still not over that. But it looks like the dynamic doofuses made the right call, as it now turns things into a game of chess, with each side waiting for the other to make the next move. This helps build proper tension without the audience sighing because the person of color behind you won't shut up. Don't you go in that skull, girlfriend. He gonna kill you.
Racist.
Shut the hell up, fool!
And another interesting thing that came out of this scene here, short as it was what the other shorty brought up. Where exactly is the beacon relic hidden? And being the relic of choice, what could that mean? So many questions, but none need answering, leaving the audience in a state of gleeful anticipation, which should mix well with the tension, like vodka and vinegar.
Oh, you pussy. Respect the alcohol.
Also, his connection to the relics is an interesting thought. We already know that he has a deeper link with the maidens of this world, and he clearly knows a great deal more than someone who is just old. Did he have something to do with their creation? Perhaps he was the one that hid them. I don't know. There's just so much that can easily be from a certain point of view. Either way, it all sets up a nice feeling of excitement and hope for future episodes. So while this one has some flaws with its fights being kind of poop, it still goes to show how much the characters have influence on the lives of the audience, as we look forward to seeing more of the emotional moments they bring us.
So I'll see y'all next week as we get closer and closer to the end of this volume.
Which also means the end of your reviews. I too have mixed emotions about that. It's like when you see a hot-ass lesbian. Contradictions like that shouldn't exist. Bi is always better.
Till then, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more reviews. Check out my other videos and leave a comment telling me what you thought. I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. With me, no movie's sacred, no video's safe, but all deserve a chance. I'll catch you guys next time. Toodles!
Good morning. In less than an hour, you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. You will once again be fighting for our freedom. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
He's pretty good at that.
Right?